What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Sly Jordy and welcome back to F1 25 driver career mode for the Monaco Grand Prix. But if you missed last episode at Imola, well, it was exactly what I said it might be. Crash back down to reality. We got really lucky with safety cars for the first two races, and then at Imola we were fighting for P4, nowhere near the top three, near 20 seconds away, because, you know, the cars like the Ferrari, the McLaren, and, the Ferrari and the McLarens can do the one-stop around Imola pretty easily. Other teams that tried the one-stop, we were able to catch up to, like the Mercedes and the Red Bull, but we've been able to keep up with them quite a lot this season. Same with the Williams. That's pretty much... Those are the teams that we're really, truly fighting with. And then the McLaren and the Ferrari, they are well ahead of us. Their inconsistency, though, has allowed us to get, P1 in the championship. And they're still a little bit inconsistent as of right now. Lando Norris getting a P7 after a pretty shocking qualifying. But provided him and Piastri have no more hiccups, and same goes for Ferrari, we're not going to be holding on to the lead for very long. But the next race is actually a really, really interesting one. Not only is it Monaco, and it has the two-stop strategy now, which is mandatory for this year's season and the game by extension, but also the track itself is incredibly easy, to the point that I feel the need to actually up the difficulty from 102, which we've been, I think is the difficulty where we're at. Maybe a little bit higher could be talked about, but we're pretty close to Alonso in qualifying anyway. So I think we're right where we need to be difficulty-wise. But Monaco is so easy that I feel the need to max out the difficulty and just see what happens from there. That's pretty much the only reason why we are keeping Monaco on the calendar for this second season. Usually I just remove it straight away because it was so easy in season one that we qualified first in the V-carb, and so I took grid penalties to kind of negate that a little bit and have a more interesting race. This time it's going to be really interesting. This is actually going to be the first race I've ever done on the F1 game that is at maximum difficulty. So yeah, this is going to be truly, truly interesting. Before we get into our weekend, let's actually select some of these goals. For the weekend, we've got our aero specialist right here. Nearly maxed her out, I think, because we seem to have all the active perks, which is great. I don't know if these specialists are exclusive to me or the teams. Either way, it's looking pretty good. We'll do this one. Overtake 8 cars out on track in the neither of these can be done, really. But I'm not really going to change my setup, to be honest, from the one I usually do. So, I don't know how we're going to do that one. Achieve 5 purple sectors, finish in a better position than your teammate. I think we could try and do that. Try and beat Alonso. We were able to do it last time out, just about, and then the first 2 races of the season, he was able to beat us, which is a nice change of pace from pretty much all of my experience in the F1 games prior. I've never really had a teammate that was equal to me, at the very least. Never mind better. We'll do this one. Those are really easy. And we've got the manufacturing expert as well, which these ones are really easy. 100 miles during the race weekend, we can do that very, very easily. In terms of R&D, I don't think we have anything coming into this weekend. We have 1 in progress on our side of the garage and 2 from Fernando Alonso. I don't think there's anything else that we can really apply for until some of these are applied in like 24 days, 7 days, and 14 days respectively. So a lot of those will be coming in for Spain. I don't think this exhaust will be coming in, but these 2 definitely should be coming in time for Fernando's home race. And then we got 3 pretty interesting races in a row after that. 4, 5 if you... every race after this is quite interesting in my opinion. Spain, we didn't do very well there in season 1. Monaco itself is interesting. So we got some really interesting races from now, well, all over the season, really. Monaco, already explained why. Spain, we really had to fight hard for a single point in Spain last season, so that's going to be really interesting. Austria, reverse. I don't need to go into any more details why that would be interesting. Then we got Silverstone, which we did really bad at last season. I think it was the only race in the whole season where we didn't score a point. We completely fell off trying to go for the one stop in that race. I'm not going to make the same mistake again. That's why that's still on the calendar. And then right after that, we've got the Silverstone reverse. Then Spa, then Zandvoort reverse, and it's just going to be a really interesting season all around individually in terms of the races. But in terms of the championship, well, we're going to have to keep a close eye on Ferrari and McLaren and battle with them where we can, because if Imola was anything to go by, Ferrari are looking truly, truly dominant as they secured that 1-2 there. So, without any further ado, let's head over to the Principality over at the Circuit de Monaco for round 4 of this 16-race season. So I think this is about quarter of the way through nearly at this point. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how Monaco goes, of course. Well, here we are at our workstation. That was quite the long loading screen. Usually I'm able to keep it all in one clip, but it took a bit longer. Looks as though we're going to be skipping practice 1 since it'll be raining in that session. If it's raining in practice 1, what does that mean for the rest of the weekend? Absolutely nothing. Usually I'd be really disappointed by that, but we're at a phase in F1 25's life cycle where they still haven't fixed how overpowered the AI are in wet races. So, I'm quite thankful we've not had another wet race yet, but they're really not common anyway. Even in F1 23 and F1 24, they were just not common at all, and I really hope they add the feature where we just get to decide what weather happens, Yeah, it makes it less predictable in terms of, like us making the content, for example, but you guys won't know that if I don't show you. So I feel like it's something they definitely should add. It would make things a lot more interesting for everybody involved. But in terms of the progress history, we seem to have moved down a bit. I don't know where we were before, but I think everybody's made, well, other than us, a minor upgrade. I think Williams made a minor upgrade, but they were already ahead of us. Alpine have made a minor upgrade that have put them ahead of us, but we're level pegging with them anyway. Same with VCarb, but VCarb have been nowhere near us. I don't think I've ever had to compete with a VCarb yet. Gasly, I think, was a bit of a pest in Jeddah, but yeah, not really worried about either of those guys. Haas and Sauber, same thing there. The teams that we're going to be keeping an eye on are Williams and Mercedes. Those are the teams that we know we can compete with. Same with Red Bull as well. I think Red Bull's actually level with Mercedes. So, yeah, Red Bull, Mercedes, Williams. Those are the teams that we're going to try and compete with. And maybe Gasly, if he's on some good form. Ferrari and McLaren, on the other hand, yeah, they're too far ahead of us if Imola was anything to go by. If Jeddah and Bahrain were anything to go by, I think we were able to somewhat compete with Ferrari, or at least, I mean, it all comes down to the track. Bahrain is pretty easy to defend at. So if Jeddah was anything to go by, and as well as Imola, McLaren and Ferrari, we are nowhere near them right now. So, yeah. It's going to be pretty difficult to keep the championship lead, and those first 2 lucky wins are going to be really, really important for the rest of the season. This is, again, going to be a season of consistency. So, there's a very good chance we might never win again. Who knows? Or I might, just be speaking those words out of existence, because we are in Monaco. Even at max difficulty, this could still be a really, really easy track. We'll have to see. Without further ado, let's get into qualifying.
Now, if you ask anyone who's raced here, they'll tell you, nowhere in the world is more important to get a high qualifying position than here on the windy, chicaney, challenging streets of Monaco. We're about to set the grid for tomorrow's race, but potentially for the end of the race too. So welcome along, everyone, to the Monaco Grand Prix qualifying.
Yes, indeed. It is time for Monaco qualifying, which, like Crofty said, is the most important qualifying day of the year because of the lack of overtakes during the race. And I'm feeling quite confident going into this Grand Prix. Of course, it's a very high difficulty gap to where we were at before, going from 102 to 110. But of course, Monaco is excessively easy compared to the other tracks on this year's game. So we'll just see where 110 does get us. And as you can tell, I am really pushing the car to try and see what time we can get for this provisional time. So we do have a little bit of damage to our front wing, as my engineer is telling me right now. Right now we've got a 112.3, which is just behind Leclerc, and by the end of qualifying, that is only good enough for P14. So it's good that we're going for another lap, that is for sure. Track evolution really playing its part in this Grand Prix. So yeah, here we go. P14. Let's see where we can get in terms of this final lap. I'm using a lot of VRS for this first sector, as it is pretty high speed, of course. And so far, wasn't the greatest going into Casino, but we did gain a little bit of time coming out of it, and a little bit of late braking going in towards the hairpin has us back into a positive delta. But yeah, this is obviously not going to be good enough for a high position, so we got to push that little bit harder. But Sector 2, very good start for us. We've already gained nearly 2 tenths, just over a tenth, actually getting closer and closer towards 2 tenths. I think we used a little bit of ERS there. Very quickly through the chicane on the limits of the track right there. And we're up to now 4 tenths. So Sector 2 went really well. Purple Sector 2 after a yellow first sector. And now throwing the car through these final few corners now, just trying desperately to get a good time. We've now fallen to P15 in our qualifying position as we now go on to the run up to the line. Here we go. What is it going to be? It is P2. I really felt good about that time. That was honestly probably the best possible time we could have gotten. But somehow, some way, Oscar Piastri in the McLaren, 1 tenth, a whole tenth ahead of us, as he claims pole position. So there's a good chance we could win this Monaco Grand Prix if we get a good enough start. But P2, that's where we're landing right now. Let's see what happens as we go into the race.
A proper road race, and in the true meaning of the word. That's how Mr. Monaco, the late great Graham Hill, once described this iconic event. The cars we drive have come a long way in the intervening half-century, but still we race on those same public roads beside the Mediterranean. There's no victory more coveted than that of the Monaco Grand Prix. The prestigious Circuit de Monaco, then, is not all that dissimilar today to the layout that made its debut almost a century ago. It's 2 miles and 19 corners through the streets of Monte Carlo. And although the average lap speed of around 93 miles per hour is the lowest of the season, the tiny margins for error make it the natural habitat of the safety car. And alongside me today, a man who I'm always pleased to see join me in the commentary box, Anthony Davidson. Now, you're the racing driver in this partnership, so tell us about this racing driver. Put us in their shoes. How are they going to be feeling?
Well, you've got to be prepared, Crofty. Before you even step foot inside the car, you've got to know, you've got to have a pre-race game plan. You've watched videos before you get into the car of previous races gone by. You know where you have to place your car if X, Y, or Z happens in front of you or behind you. So having this clear game plan is absolutely essential before you get in the car.
Okay, you know this, but this track needs a lot of downforce, and as such, we're not going to have quite the same top speed as other circuits. The good news, though, is that it's going to make our DRS even more powerful. So try to make the most of it in the race and quali if you can.
Well, here we go. The strategy for today's Grand Prix was originally going to be hards, mediums, but I want the best possible start that we can get because, yeah, this is probably going to be our only opportunity to make any kind of overtake, especially for this first stint anyway. So I want to start on the mediums, and it's a good thing we did because it looks as though Oscar will also be starting on the mediums. So if we'd have started on the hards, yeah, that wouldn't have been the best idea if we'd have wanted to gain first place, because if we can gain first place, the chances of anybody overtaking us are slim to none around this circuit. So yeah, that's part of what makes it so easy, but it doesn't help that the lap times for the AI are really slow compared to you know, the players. So it's good that we've pushed it to 110, and we were still not able to get pole position regardless, so that was good. But now we wait as the rest of the grid forms up ready for this Monaco Grand Prix. This is make or break. If this is not a fun Grand Prix to do, it won't return in this series. So this could be the final time you see the Monaco Grand Prix in this series. 5 red lights ready to go out. And away we go. Oscar Piastri gets a really, really good start, and he's already nearly 2 tenths ahead. We got a good start. We were able to get right at the back of him. But yeah, Oscar, great start for him. Some positions moving around at the back, so there'll be some cars side by side. This is probably the worst track to have a bad start. But yeah, we've had a pretty good one there. We've actually managed to gap Max Verstappen a little bit, and we're probably going to be able to keep doing that as he's on the hards. And look at that, the Red Bull and the Alpine. I think that's Gasly and Tsunoda side by side, former teammates, as Gasly looks to get in front. It's Yuki Tsunoda, though, around the outside, claiming the position. I don't know if that's claiming it or retaking it after a bad start, but Red Bull 8 and 9. That just goes to show just how far Red Bull have fallen in these 2026 regulations. Meanwhile, our teammate Fernando Alonso is in P7. Sainz really good in the Williams. Ferrari P3 and P5. McLaren P4. And we're a bit of an outlier here. P2 in the Aston Martin, which is a pretty good car, just not as quick as the other ones. But the good thing about Monaco is that we really will not have to worry about overall pace. We could honestly keep P2 in this race for the entirety of it, and we will still be topping the drivers' standings by the end of it. But I feel like we could do a lot better. Unfortunately, Oscar Piastri seems to have some really good pace, and I mean, he is in the best car on the grid. So this is going to come down to strategy, and with the mandatory 2-stop, there is still a lot to play for in this Grand Prix, of course. But the good news is that we're comfortably in P2, given the Ferrari of Verstappen is on the hard tyres. I think Leclerc lost the position to Lando Norris at the start there. But yeah, things are not going to change anytime soon. I will be able to keep up with Piastri somewhat, particularly towards the particularly through the chicane. But as we fast forward to lap 8, 3.4 seconds behind. So no matter how much time I'm gaining in that particular chicane, the rest of the track shows that the McLaren is a lot quicker, and obviously the mediums are now starting to wear out as Max Verstappen is now right up our chaff. He is caught up in the Ferrari. The good news is that everybody behind him is still 1.5 seconds behind, so we've only got Max Verstappen to really worry about. I don't know if he'll send it down the inside of one of these corners, but going on to lap 9 now, still being chased by Verstappen, and Piastri now pushing towards 4 seconds in front of us. So yeah, P2 looks to be our battle for from here on out, unless we can get a good strategy. And as we now move on to lap 10, Verstappen still chasing us. Lando Norris has managed to gain about 5 tenths. I'm completely taking advantage of track limits there, but it won't matter regardless, because we're coming into the pits now for our second stint, and probably our most important stint as we now come into the pit box, ready to go on the hard tyres, hoping that the pit crew give us a good stop. It is a good stop. There we go. We are out onto the hard tyres now for 15 laps. So the good thing about this, as opposed to every other circuit on the calendar, is that usually I have to pit a little bit earlier because of how much I really wear out the tyres. But we're able to go right on schedule on the mediums to the hards. So we could go 15 laps now. I'm not fussed about the hards. The hards are usually really safe. We were just about able to get in front of Alex Albon. So it is P12 coming out into P12. Hopefully when the cars, such as Piastri, for example, hopefully when they pit, they come out into a bunch of traffic just like we are. But yeah, this isn't a good sign for us, obviously. If it doesn't matter if they run into traffic if we can't get past this traffic. So we've got to make these moves as quickly as possible as we now catch up to the Mercedes of George Russell, who seems to be holding position for his teammate Kimi Antonelli. We sense an opportunity. We're going to dive down the inside towards the chicane. There's just enough space to go side by side through that section, and there we go. What an audacious overtake that was, and we are up into P11, now looking to chase down Kimi Antonelli, who we're going to have a lot more pace in these corners. Of course, Kimi is on hards that have been going since the beginning of the race. A lot of people seem to have been going long for their first stint. Obviously, I chose to go on the mediums instead to try and overtake Piastri, which didn't work, but I'm still feeling really good with this strategy so far. And we're going to dive down the inside towards the hairpin, and we're going to go nearly side by side in the hairpin, just about getting through. Barely any contact at all. I think there was a little bit of tyre banging between me and Antonelli, but no damage towards me and no damage towards Kimi neither. So that was another really good move, and we're only able to make these moves because of the amount of grip we have versus these guys. Look at how slow Gasly is coming out of the chicane there, and I'm going to use this opportunity to dive down the inside. He's going to give me the space, because if he doesn't, we're going to crash. And there you go, that is another overtake done, and now we have a lot of room ahead of us to catch up to Colapinto, 3.2 seconds ahead. Up ahead, Lando Norris in the McLaren has pitted. I don't know what Piastri is doing, but I have to focus on my own race. We're able to overtake Norris now, so Norris will be stuck behind traffic. We don't need to worry too much about Lando, I don't think. So hopefully that's more of a Fernando Alonso problem, who is 7.7 seconds ahead, and Oscar Piastri is now pitting on lap 13. So that was a really long stint on the mediums, but he could afford to do that because of just how dominant he's been so far, and he's going on the softs. A very aggressive strategy from Oscar Piastri, and it's really cool that the AI in this game is starting to show a little bit of personality per driver, really, because Oscar Piastri, this isn't the first time we've seen Oscar go for really aggressive strategies. Maybe the AI is coded where if they get far enough ahead, they'll pit for softs to get even further ahead, I suppose, in a short amount of time, because they've got that time to spare. But look at this. It's a safety car ahead, and this seems to have really shafted the Ferraris. We're not going to pit, obviously. We've still got a long stint to go, but both Ferraris stuck behind a safety car here. I wonder what has caused that. Neither Ferrari has pitted yet. They still need to make 2 stops. Most cars in this race have pitted, so Ferrari, that might be race over for them. And it looks like it is the Alpine of Jack Doohan who has spun out towards the hairpin. It doesn't seem to have been a problem so far. A lot of the cars seem to have gotten past just fine, so the safety car hadn't been activated yet, and this is where it was. Jack Doohan not turning around quick enough, and he ends up blocking the V-carb of Isaac Hadjar, who has freshly pitted. So this could be a good opportunity for V-carb here to gain some positions, particularly against the Ferraris. Like I said, Verstappen and Leclerc have not pitted yet, so this is a very, very tricky situation for them now. They've got to really hope that another safety car happens later on during this race. But very bizarre scenes here from Ferrari, because right towards the end of the safety car, I think safety car going for another 2 laps, they have decided to pit both Ferraris here. Very strange. I think if I was in charge, I would have kept one out on the hards to try and slow down the rest of the grid for the other Ferrari, but it looks as though they're both pitting. Verstappen is falling all the way down to P10, which isn't the worst thing in the world, considering, but considering where they were before the safety car, yeah, it's really bad. Leclerc has fallen all the way down from, what is it, P3 to P14. So yeah, absolutely horrible scenes, and horrible scenes for us, because this is when I obviously did notice that Piastri had pitted onto the softs. So even with the safety car, we're not going to be able to catch up to him at all. Carlos Sainz in the Williams is in P3 due to that Ferrari issue, and our teammate Fernando Alonso is up into P5 as well. So some good points for the team are on the offing right here as we now get ready to go racing, crossing the line. It's green flag racing once more, and we have absolutely no chance at all to catch Piastri. So Piastri seems to have this race completely on lock. There is absolutely no chance for us. I don't know how long we're going to go on this hard stint. I think Piastri will be pitting twice within our 1 hard stint, judging from those soft tyres. So he'll likely be going on to the mediums towards the end of the race. Let's see how far ahead he gets. We've got to hope that when he pits again, he runs into a lot of traffic, because otherwise, yeah, it's going to be a huge issue. But yeah, lap 22 now is when Oscar Piastri does finally pit. About 2 seconds ahead of us, so the damage wasn't nearly as bad, probably because the softs had worn out very quickly, and now we take the lead of the Grand Prix. Obviously, we could try going till the end of the race, but I don't think these hards would be able to do that, so I'm not going to try that. But yeah, so far so good. If we're looking to get a big haul of points anyway, but obviously with these hards, we have to go quite a bit longer, so maybe we can gain some time if Piastri gets stuck behind traffic. He has come out into P12. Our teammate Fernando Alonso in P4 right now, probably looking for a P5 by the end of the race, since he'll have to pit very, very soon. But so far so good, as we are now on lap 25, 2.2 seconds ahead of the rest of the grid, and this is going to be our pit lap here, 4 laps after Oscar Piastri had pitted. I have no idea where he is. We've got Gasly in P5, Colapinto in P4, so the grid is a bit shaken up. Sainz in P2, looking for a very, very good position in the Williams. He is still yet to pit, so is Fernando Alonso. They still need to get their second stint done as we now move on towards the end of our lap. I really feel proud of this hard stint. I feel like we did really, really well. Oscar Piastri is up into P7 after a few cars have pitted. So I don't know where he's going to be. He'll be overtaking us as we come out of the pit. So hopefully our pace on the hards was good enough to get far enough away from him. Here we go. Hoping for a good stop. There it is. Onto the mediums, back onto the mediums, I mean. And now we look at Oscar Piastri to see what happens. He looks to be catching up to Pierre Gasly, who still needs to pit a second time. And there is Oscar Piastri overtaking us. And Lando Norris got really close to overtaking us as well. I had to make sure I got out the pits as quickly as I could. But now, yeah, Piastri still ahead of us, and our only hope now is that Pierre Gasly slows him down enough where we can maybe, perhaps, make a desperate dive on one of these upcoming corners, because that, again, is the only chance we've got. I think there's a very good chance that Pierre Gasly does pit on this lap, so this is likely going to be our only opportunity, following Piastri as close as we dare through the tunnel now. Look at us all chasing Gasly, leading a bit of a train here, as now we look to dive down the inside like we did to George Russell. This is for the lead of the race. Piastri still fighting side by side, but we have managed to get the lead of the race. Basically, that is P4. The cars ahead of us are still yet to pit with plenty of laps to go. As we now follow Pierre Gasly through the final few corners, Gasly pits. So that really was our final opportunity. So now all we got to do is stay vigilant to make sure that Piastri doesn't try to do the same to us. But he looks like he's got problems of his own, as Lando Norris looks to make a move around the outside of Piastri, side by side, the two McLarens. That's definitely costed them some time. As we now look ahead to who leads the race, it is Carlos Sainz in the Williams, looking to go long on those hards, 15 seconds ahead of us. So already we've gained 5 seconds on him. He has to pit soon. I don't know what strategy he's going for, but it looks as though he's looking for a really good position, a really good position at the end of the race. As we now look at the Ferrari, still yet to make their final stop. Leclerc, actually, I don't know if he's actually made his final stop. I'm really not sure, but I know Verstappen has not. So Verstappen absolutely is not scoring any points today as we look at him right now. He's having a bit of a lonely race. I think, honestly, oh, he's on the softs. So he must have pitted onto the softs in that second stint, perhaps. I don't know, but he'll be pitting now. Let's see where he ends up. Leclerc, once again, is in P18. This is Verstappen coming in now. I just want to watch these guys because it's just so strange that an entire team got shafted by the safety car right there. But Verstappen, really good stint. If he was on the softs that entire time, very impressive from Max right there, the man who won last time out. How strange. Last time out, Imola, Ferrari, absolutely dominant. But this time out, that's not the case. But the cool thing about this is that looks as though Isaac Hadjar will be scoring his very first points in Formula 1. In our alternate universe, he has not been nearly as good as he has been in real life. So this Monaco Grand Prix is actually going to be his first haul of points. And looks as though VCARB might be in for double points, because Kimi Antonelli in the Mercedes, another team, I think Russell got shafted by the safety car, and their one hope of getting a good position, Antonelli has just had his engine fail, and Lance Stroll looking for his first points in the VCARB. Double points for Racing Bulls. What a result that will be for them. I think, honestly, Mercedes might have done a double stack, just like Ferrari. I don't see why Russell would be so far back. But yeah, Mercedes and Ferrari both completely having disasters in this race. We managed to get really comfortable in first place, as Piastri actually had to defend a few times from Lando Norris. Lando has been chasing him this whole way, just like real life, really. And basically, McLaren will be happy with this result despite not winning, because as a team, they would have gained a huge haul of points over Ferrari. But as we come around the final corner, there's only one man that all eyes are set on as we cross the line to win the Monaco Grand Prix for the first time in our career and the first time in Aston Martin's history. What a result right there. That might increase our lead in the Constructors, or at least have us retake the lead of the Constructors with that result. Fernando Alonso gets a good result as well, but McLaren right on our heels too.
They've done it then. They've won here in Monaco with an emphatic performance and a victory they can be proud of for many years to come.
What a drive in such difficult circumstances as well. It's close at the moment in the Constructors' Championship. The driver feels the weight of the team on their shoulders in that scenario, and look what it means to the rest of the team.
The Aston Martin team will be very happy with today's performance. And of course, the final results. Another display of excellent driving and excellent teamwork. And a well-deserved first-place finish.
Well, another strong victory for us, and there was no luck involved this time. We managed to really fight for it. To be fair, actually, maybe Gasly blocking Piastri was the luck that we needed. And if you count that as a lucky win still, that is entirely up to you, and I definitely understand. We have been a bit lucky to be in this title fight. McLaren and Ferrari definitely managed to get a little bit more consistent in these last couple of races. Ferrari getting really unlucky, but they will be right back next time. But there you go, Fernando Alonso P5. That's a big haul of 35 points for the team right there. Double points for Racing Bulls, double points for Red Bull as well, P6 and P7 for them respectively. Gasly gets a good haul of points for Alpine, but Verstappen actually ended up being overtaken by Leclerc. Look at how bad of a race they had, all because of that safety car. Anything can happen in Formula 1, but in conclusion, honestly, that was a bit of a boring race. You would have noticed that a lot of laps got skipped, to be quite honest. I'm surprised that the video managed to push over 33 minutes. I don't know how that happened. Enough happened to be able to push it that long, but yeah, actually recording it was a bit boring. We've now reached 101 points, 2 points ahead of McLaren in the Constructors, so it might only be a matter of time before a McLaren overtakes us, as well as Ferrari. We'll see next time out, but guys, that is the end of this episode of F1 25 Career Mode. If you guys liked it, be sure to hit that like button as hard as you possibly can, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time for some more F1 25 Career Mode. I'll see you soon. Peace.